What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 30. Here with my guy, Breton. How are you?
Doing awesome. I mean, US beat Mexico on Friday. We're at the top of the World Cup qualifying table, but I could spend all episode 30 talking about this. I think we had something special planned. You wanted to do something? What do you
Yeah,
want to
we
do?
we, we kind of have something special because it's episode 30
Yeah.
and we're already 30 hours doing this. So we might as well have a resume of who are the best under 21 talents in each country that we select. 30 countries, okay, guys?
Yep.
So we will be selecting who we think is the most promising player of each country,
Yep.
okay? So we invite you guys to go to the comment section, okay, of this episode, episode 30, and just go bold and say your country and your favorite Wonder Kid, okay? Because this is going to be a fun fest of just naming Wonder Kids, okay?
It really is. And we have to stay on topic here, right? So we had to narrow down the countries, which is really hard to do. So the only kind of rubric we have here is we're going to use the FIFA rankings. So top 30 FIFA rankings, which are definitely going to change after this international window. So you'll probably be surprised by some of the countries we pick and we don't pick. But I think we're going to start at 30, right? And work our way down to one. And in order to keep us on topic, I'm going to set a limit for 2 minutes for each country at most. And if we have extra time at the end, what we'll do is we can maybe expand on the top 10. What do you think? Think we get to this? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. I think that's a good plan.
All right. All right. Well, do you want to just launch into it or you got anything else to say? I know we got a live coming up.
We have a live next. We have a Portugal Serbia live on Twitch coming, so that's gonna be insane. It's right next. So if you guys are listening to this, I hope you guys enjoyed that live too. So if you're watching, and okay. So number 30.
Let's do it.
You're Algeria.
Yes, Algeria.
Wow.
Yeah.
So who'd you got?
All right, I got a 20-year-old, Adam Zorgain. Have seen him. Thank you to ESPN Plus. I've seen him play with Charleroi in the Belgian First Division. He's a midfield engine type. He's also known as the first player born in the 2000s to actually play in the Algerian First Division. He's strong. He's big in the air. He's good on set pieces, tackling, all that fun stuff. But he's probably only, his ceiling might be as a target for Belgian clubs. Right. Maybe outside of Belgium, maybe La Liga, something like that. But, you know, he's got quite the growing reputation in the pro league. But I think the more interesting thing, before I give you the floor, the more interesting thing is going to be the dual nationalities. Right. You have a lot of French born Algerian parent. Right. Situations or vice versa. So you have a lot of these names like Yassine Adli, Adil Ashouch, Amin Gouiri, Rayon, and I'm butchering all these names. Et Nouri, the Wolves left back, and you have Rayon Cherki. All of these guys could potentially play for Algeria in the future. Now, none of them are currently playing for them. So that's where you want to kind of watch. But I am going to have to defer to any Algerian supporters to really school us on this and let us know who is your up and comer. I just know Zorgain. Who's yours?
I had the same. He's the midfielder in the Belgium league. I had the same name. But like you're mentioning the dual citizen, I had no idea. I mean, Guri would be insane. It would be like the salvation for Algeria. Like that is an insane mention. And Shirky too. But so I think you said it all with Algeria. Like I had the exact same name.
Yep.
Had the exact same name. So number 20. Oh, there's the timer.
There's the timer started. Let's go. Number 29.
So Morocco. So Zakaria, Azel Kumar winger. Okay. I saw his stats. Really good. Saw some highlights. I'm going to be honest, guys. I haven't seen full matches of him. But from the highlights I've seen, he's a fast player. He's got a good decision making. And overall, he seemed like a really good player. Okay. So about Morocco, I would be more interested in the Mohamed Iataren. Like he's the player that I would know more, but I think he would pick Netherlands instead of Morocco. So let's see.
And there's such disappointing news there about Iataren potentially stepping away from football altogether, because since he signed for Juventus and then was subsequently loaned out to, I believe it is Sampdoria. We haven't seen much of him. So I really hope that he can come back to football at some point with a clear head and ready to go. But my pick is going to be a winger. It's going to be Abde, the 19-year-old winger from Barcelona, who actually made his La Liga debut. And he's only had like 2 cameos, but I mean, he's fared pretty well. And frankly, when it comes down to it, if you can, win over Koeman, and if he can find a place in Xavi's new order, which I think he probably will, he's going to be one that we are going to have to watch a whole lot closer. Does he have the pedigree that, a Gavi or any of these other guys that are really showing well? I'm not entirely sure, but he could be very, very dangerous for Morocco in the future. But they also have their list of possible dual nationalities, and you've got like an Amin Adley, Kays Ruiz Atil, remember him from PSG, now at Barcelona. But I really think Abde on the wing, already gaining time for Barcelona, is a pretty big deal, huh?
That is a big deal for Morocco, for sure. Oh, that's it. There you go with the timer. So next one, Japan. So I'm gonna go here, Takefusa Kubo, because it's clear. For me, he's the best Japanese talent, dribbling wise, insane, elite levels. And look, though, I rate him so high that I really think Real Madrid might use him in the future. Okay, like I don't see him happening the same that happened to Odegaard. And I really do think Real Madrid will settle and will test him out in future when he comes back from loan.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to agree with you here, because pretty much all of what I've seen of him is he has the ability to take the game by the scruff of the neck, or to pull, the rabbit out of the proverbial magical hat. And his dribbling, his game-changing ability is just unreal. I think I'm teetering on the edge, though. He's 20 years old now, Takefusa Kubo, and he's getting to the point where we have to figure out where can he reliably play game in, game out, and where does he fit, or is he just a bag of tricks, right? It's a worry. It's a worry for me. No doubt that he is, technically sound and just phenomenal to watch, but maybe he's too small. Maybe he's whatever. I don't know. Whatever I can say to motivate him to get out on the training pitch and show he's in the 11 every week. Kubo's still the one you got to watch. I'm going to shout out some of these Japanese, though, that are playing in the Belgian leagues and really starting to fare pretty well. Some of them are a little bit older, but Koki Sato, who plays in the Belgian second division, only seen miniature slivers of what he can do, but he is pretty highly regarded at Lamel United, who has given sizable chances to some young players coming abroad. But Kubo, I think, he's the one that we all expected to lead Japan into the new future, right?
Yeah, for sure. And Ritsu Doan, like I know he may be older, but he's a really good player too. I could see him having a good role for Japan. So next one, 27, Tunisia. So I went with I think it's an obvious pick, and it was a shocker for me that he even picked Tunisia, and that was Annabel Mejri. So Man United, I don't know if you guys know, he's such an elegant player with the ball. He's got that David Luiz haircut, like Sideshow Bob, if you guys watch The Simpsons, like you can mention. Hair. So phenomenal midfielder, and I really see him being the present already and future of Tunisia. Annabel Mejri.
I think there was surprise. I mean, at least in my mind, but like you and I were discussing before, he obviously went with his heart here in terms of joining Tunisia this early. He's only 18 years old, and he was signed by Manchester United, Mejbri, 2 years ago now, and for like 10 million euros. I mean, you got to be absolutely certain that this kid is world class to shell out that amount of money, or just have funny money lying around. But the fact of the matter is, he's been likened to have the motor of Paul Scholes. And anytime you're kind of put in there with somebody that's won the Premier League as much as Paul Scholes has, that's pretty awesome. I don't know whether or not he's going to be blooded in a system that has Solskjaer at the helm. But a lot of people have said, hey, he could be in the future the Paul Pogba replacement. I don't know if that replacement's going to come sooner rather than later, but we've all seen the world-class nature of Hannibal Mejbri. It's just whether or not it actually comes to fruition.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you. Pretty very solid. Can play as an 8-2, guys. Can play as a 6-2.
Yeah.
So 26.
Let's go. 26. I'm gonna bank that extra 20 seconds. Okay.
So
All right.
26. Ukraine. I pick Zabarny.
Okay.
I saw him in the Euros. He looked really solid in my opinion. And nice header. He's a tall center back, okay? And what I liked about him was his ball playing ability, okay? He seemed really confident and he knew what to do. And to play in the Euros at such a young age at the time, like, come on, he needs to be special. So he's my pick, Zabarny. Okay. And a special mention would be Truban at the goalkeeping spot,
yeah,
Zabarny.
Okay, yeah, and I don't think you need to make it a special mention because he's my pick. Because we all know at 20 years old in goalkeeper years, that's like being 15 or 16 years old, right? And Truban has already backstopped Shakhtar to winning a title. We all remember the Real Madrid showing, although they were humbled this time around in this Champions League. But I mean, he's already got 51 appearances for Shakhtar. He's got only 50 goals conceded, 23 clean sheets over that time period. I mean, he debuted for the Ukrainian U21s at 16 years old. Or no, wait, that's the next guy I'm going to talk about. I'm sorry. But Truban is already his country's, or his next target is to become, his country's number one. And he hasn't gotten there yet, right? He's still been playing for the Ukrainian U21s. So it's whether or not he can take that next step. But hey,
well, Truban had a madness of a game against Real Madrid, wasn't it? Like 13 saves.
Yeah, but in this Champions League, he's been getting they've been getting shellacked.
It happens.
It does happen, especially against the Real Madrid that has Benzema and Vinicius firing on all cylinders. But Zabarny is a good shout out, and another one we got to throw out there is Yarmolyuk, who's 17 years old. He's the guy that has already debuted for the U21s at 16, and he's the second youngest ever to do so. And while I have not been able to see a lot of him, he is widely seen as one of the top Ukrainian prospects. But I'd love to hear what our listeners will throw in the comment section. Educate us, right? All right.
Fact. So number 25, Serbia. So I went simple because I had to do a study that Portugal are going to play against Serbia. So I had to say Vlahovic.
I mean, yes.
Okay, Vlahovic, he's one of the best under 21s in the world, not even Serbia. Okay, if we mention just world, like top 10 under 21s, Vlahovic is in there. So he's the number one lethal striker. Okay, not going to stay at Fiorentina next season. 100%. I'm going to go bold. He's going to the Prem, easy in my opinion. Okay, so. Yeah, I just had to pick Vlahovic.
All right. Breed. And I had a feeling you were going to pick Vlahovic, which means that I felt like I needed to pick somebody else. Although I 100% agree with you, Dusan Vlahovic is without a doubt. I mean, his ceiling is still, it hasn't even been met yet. And he's coming off a 21 goal year in Serie A. So I'm going to go with, on loan from Manchester City, Ivan Ilic. He has been absolutely phenomenal for Verona. And he's actually been, amongst the statistical categories, U23 or not, he's been one of the top midfielders in all of Serie A. So I think he deserves a shout, while I still think Vlahovic clearly has the highest ceiling in all of Serbia. I do know that right now there's probably a 16 or a 17-year-old playing for Red Star Belgrade or somebody that we don't yet know about that's going to be coming through and winning over our hearts and minds. But we'll see soon enough with that. So yeah, Vlahovic and Ilic are two good shouts. You want to move on to a surprising number 24?
There you go. Peru. Like I wasn't expecting Peru being the 24, but I have the player that I picked for Peru. I think he's got a pretty high ceiling, and that is Cloifer Aguilar, the fullback.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Man City, if they get him, like I went to see the footage, very fast, very like this is what the fullbacks need to know when to go forward. And Aguilar seemed really good, aware when to go forward. So I love them. Okay. So I'm very confident, guys, that this player in the future will be one to watch. Just like Gavin Bazanu is a loan that's very underrated at Man City. I say Clover Aguilar is another loan that I see being very underrated. And a special mention is to Aaron Sanchez, okay, center back, okay, very nice. And I watched the footage. He's a beast, okay?
Yes.
Big teams in Europe are for sure gonna see this kid, okay? Because he's got everything to go forward. So those are my pick for Peru.
Yeah, and I remember reading somewhere that he was offered a trial at Arsenal. I don't know if he ever took it, if it ever materialized, but Aaron Sanchez is, I believe he's 18, plays for Cantalao, still plays domestically with Peru, in Peru. But as you mentioned, I mean, he's an absolute beast. The Aguilar pick was obviously going to be mine because, hey, I know Manchester City likes collecting right backs, but Aaron Sanchez is definitely one that I was at least been putting down because 18 size, been playing a lot in the Peruvian first division. He's going to be one that probably does make a leap at some point in the near future. So, all right, well, we got through Peru because that was a little bit of an education.
There you go. I did to do the homework. Yeah, I had to educate too with Cliff Aguilar.
Well,
so sorry.
No, go ahead. I think you were about to announce number 23.
Yep, number 23, Poland. So Kasper Kozlowski. Come on, like that for me was one of the easiest picks when I saw the list because Kozlowski, like we saw in the Euros, man of the show, youngster, okay, midfielder that just loves to dictate. Such a maestro, okay? Poland have the star when Robert Lewandowski's gone. It's Kasper Kozlowski. And I'm not saying he's going to be that level, but for sure, he's going to be one of the stars of that team. So guys, really remember the name. Quality midfielder.
Yeah, and it's pretty funny when you kind of troll through different, I don't know, fan bases and whatnot. They're calling him, or I don't know who is, but someone's calling him the Polish Pogba. Right. I mean, he's got size, physicality for like an 18-year-old. But hey, this was a guy that at 17 years old was playing in Euro 2020. And he was not there as a mannequin to be a part of the practice squad. And he has a hell of a story, right? We remember the story around him almost having a career-ending injury due to a car crash that he was in. And he's fought his way back that young. Right? When development is everything at that age, he fought his way back from that insanity and somehow earned his way into the Polish national team. Kid's only 18 and already got Euros experience under his belt. And he is the future of Poland. Now, Poland has a very bright future. So definitely list those that we missed in this one. But we're in agreement. Kasper Kozlowski is probably the highest ceiling when it comes to Polish talents moving forward.
There you go. So number 22 with Iran. I needed education here because even the player I mentioned, I had to watch clips on him. Yeah, that was Alair Sanmanesh.
There it is.
I saw him play in the Conference League. Like he seemed quality. Okay. Yeah. So, but who's your pick? Like, because I needed more on this one.
Yeah, I've actually heard Fenerbahce fans talk about him. And I guess I looked him up thinking he was 16 or 17 years old. He's actually already 20, right? But he's on loan, I believe, in Ukraine with Zorya Luhansk in Ukraine. And I think in just the last 5 games, he's got 5 goals, 1 assist. So he's already got 8 goals this season. So he's really starting to come into his own. And I know we're going to butcher his name, but Alair Sayadmanesh. Hopefully I did it. I'm a little more shocked that he hasn't played a larger role with Iran. Then again, Iran has been pretty damn good in qualifying so far. So my guess is that by the time Qatar 2022 rolls around, he will be a big part of that setup. And that is a name that you are going to want to watch.
There you go. So that's for sure. I really need to get my education up with Iran. I have to say, guys. So number 21, Chile. So I got Marcelino Nunes. Okay, he's a midfielder in Universidad Católica. Like really nice. Okay, roaming midfielder, loves to have the final pass. Okay, Marcelino Nunes, and he's another player that I really could see coming to Europe, not to a Prem, but maybe to just Italy, to Portugal or Spain. Okay, because he needs the ball in his feet. That's what I noticed a lot in that Chile game.
Yeah.
He did make a difference, but he did need the ball a lot. So off ball, he still needs to work. But Marcelino Nunes is my pick.
Yep. And I'm going to agree with you again there. He's been a top player for Universidad Católica in Chile. And, you know, the other one I'd throw out there is Bastian Yanez. And I don't know if I said his name correctly, but he's a winger, pretty strong winger, good on the dribble. And, you know, he's been putting up very similar numbers there, though they play two very different roles. But yeah, Marcelino Nunez actually stood out to me when watching that Chile-Paraguay game. 2 days ago, or maybe that was yesterday. I can't remember. But he was very good as they won in Asunción, right, in Paraguay. And they are firmly, potentially in place to qualify for the World Cup. But I am going to throw out, before the 2 minutes run up, I am going to throw out a name that the U.S. fans that are watching knows very well, and that's Sebastian Soto. He's only 21. I don't know what decisions he's been making as of late, but he was at Norwich City, and now he's like on loan at Porto B. And I haven't seen in terms of much progress he's been making, but he's been playing here and there. Sebastian Soto has a skill set and has promise, and also has the ability to play for Chile. In fact, he had previously been contacted by them. With Josh Sargent and Ricardo Pepi and Daryl Dike and Matthew Hoppe and PFOC, all in the running for the U.S. men's national team forward. Or the forward position. Sebastian Soto might wind up going to Chile, and that would be a very good get for them if they can get something out of them like they did with Ben Brereton from Blackburn, right? So moving on. I apologize.
That'd be bold. No, but Soto, I didn't even know he was a Porto B, honestly. So yeah. I don't think Sergio Conceição will have will play him, but I'm not sure. I hope he does so. So number 20, Syngal, Pape Sarr. Okay. I wasn't surprised that Tottenham went to get him when I saw the footage and I saw those games. Like, such a dominant midfielder. Okay. Like, I do expect him to come back from loan next season and Conte to play him. Okay, because why? Physically dominant, phenomenal on ball, in my opinion, ball conduction wise, and defensively, he does seem like he's got the drills tackling wise. He supports very well the fullbacks, Pape Sarr, okay? But he's in the Prem, so another year going on loan back to where he came from, just so we get everything sharpened up. Okay, I love it. I love it, and I do think everyone should really expect to see him in the Prem next season, balling.
I think once again we're in agreement. I mean, we didn't talk before this, right? No. But yeah, Pape Sarr, I don't know how you can go beyond that right now. And with the potential he has, putting him under Antonio Conte is going to be interesting. But it is a bit troubling. I've seen over the last several months, he's kind of fallen by the wayside at Metz. He was left on loan at Metz because obviously want him getting full game time. While there's a merry-go-round of coaches at Tottenham. But I don't think there's any denying that if you can unlock Pape Sarr's, potential, he could be a world-class star for Tottenham. Okay. And I think what makes him that possibility there is he has versatility in that he can play, and I don't know what his best role is, but he's played as a defensive mid. He's played as holding. He's played as more of a attacking mid previously. But I do know that if he's going to play at defensive mid, it's going to be who? Oliver Skipp. He's going to play in a place where he could potentially really make an impact. So I agree with you that next season, he could wind up being a big part of that Spurs revival.
I agree, but I don't even know if Skipp will play. Honestly, Brett, but I have more hope on Pape Sarr than Oliver Skipp. Okay, that's what I would say about him. So you want to go to number 19?
Let's do it. I have a bit of an unconventional one here. Who's your pick for Wales?
Okay, so my Welsh pick. Look, I wanted to go Ampadu. Okay, because Ampadu, like seeing him like 2 years ago at Chelsea, Ampadu was ridiculous. Okay, maybe again the Sideshow Bob haircut had an effect on him because. Like Ethan Ampadu was crazy at the time. But all of a sudden he dipped. So I'm gonna pick the player that I feel like will have an impact every every time he plays for Wales, and that is Nico Williams.
There you go.
Because Nico Williams he's already having the impact for Wales.
Yeah.
And I can see him playing in the Prem, not at Liverpool maybe, but at Everton or Wolves, like a mid-table team, even Aston Villa with Stevie G. So crossing ability on point. Tracking back, I think, is the big problem with Nico Williams defensively, but he's a very nice fullback. Okay, so there you go, guys. Nico Williams.
That's a good one, and I'm going to stay on defense there. But I've actually watched him play Ben Cabango, 21 years old. I've watched him play for Swansea quite a bit, and right now, I don't obviously think that he's probably the best defender out there for them. But I will tell you this. He has got the leadership quality. He's got the motivational quality. He's got the physicality. He's got everything that tells me that this guy could wind up being a superstar for like a Burnley, like a James Tarkowski type of situation, right? Where at 25, 26, he winds up being an immensely solid Premier League center back. Only 21. He's been the captain on every level at Swansea City. And he's in the Welsh national team setup. I believe he was sent back due to injury. I could be wrong. So he didn't partake in the game the other day where Nico Williams scored. But he's starting to gather attention from Premier League teams. And I think Ben Cabango, you might not have the highest ceiling of the bunch, but I think he's going to play the largest role for, a Welsh player in a club side moving forward from this batch. So Ethan Ampadu, man, is a really tough situation. I mean, he's been everywhere. I feel like he's crisscrossed like the continent multiple periods of time, playing for different teams all over the place. But that Sheffield United move just killed him, in my opinion. I mean, just getting beaten up day in, day out. And now he's at where's he at? Oh, he's with Gianluca Buzio at Venezia in Serie A. So man, he's getting all the stamps on his passport. He's an
There you go. That's a nice way to end it up. Yeah. So number 18, guys, Croatia.
Yep.
Okay. I have here two guys. I have the one that I think is going to be the best player, and that's Gvardiol. Okay. I think Gvardiol in 2-3 years, he's going to be at a top team at that center back role. Okay. He's very dominant, phenomenal pick by RB Leipzig. They know what they're doing. This is the common ground that I'm getting with center backs is physically they're dominant and ball playing. Again, Gvardiol seems really nice ball playing wise. So I do think like in 2-3 years he might leave to the Prem or even to La Liga. But the bold pick is Roko Simic. Okay. Yeah. I love that. I love the guy, Roko Simic. Okay. There's a reason why. If Red Bull is getting you, there's a reason you're special. Okay. Sure. Red Bull just signs special talents. Okay. And Red Bull Salzburg knows that Roko Simic is that guy. Okay. He was at GNK Dinamo before. And look, he was playing professionally at 16. And I think that says it all. And trust me, guys, he is a clinical finisher. And he's already playing for Croatia's youth system, I think under 21s.
Yeah.
So he's 17. So watch out, guys. Roko Simic.
Yeah, and he may have just turned 18, but Roko Simic is also my pick beyond Gvardiol because I had a feeling you had to say Gvardiol right now. And what I love about Josko Gvardiol too is that versatility. You know me and versatility. Fact that he was thrown into a Euro game playing left back and fared pretty well. That's pretty awesome. But Roko Simic, okay. It just so happens that he has the pedigree, kind of like Erling Haaland, right? Has the pedigree. His dad was who, right? His dad was Dario Simic. Okay. 100 caps for Croatia, phenomenal player, won the Champions League with Milan. But he is rounding into form right now. He's already made his Red Bull. Oh, crap. He's already made his Red Bull Salzburg. We really talked a lot about Croatia. He's already made his Red Bull Salzburg debut. Okay. He's already scored goals for them. And on top of that, he's got 6 goals, just to put statistics to what you were saying before. He's got 6 goals with the Croatian U21s in their Euro qualifying campaign. But he's got size, he's got finishing. It feels a little bit Holland-esque, but we won't know for now. He's got Benjamin Sesko in front of him at Salzburg, but he has definitely got a massively high ceiling, regardless of how big he is. So I agree, he's one. And then I do have to throw out the name Luka Sousach, who also plays for Red Bull Salzburg. But we might have to circle back on him because we've already violated our 2-minute principle.
There you go. So number 17, guys, Sweden. Okay. Easy pick, Kulusevski.
Yeah.
Bold, Wilton from Armabi. Wilton Svedberg, okay, of Amarby. I don't know if you know this midfielder. 17 years old, already putting numbers in the Swedish league, okay?
Yep.
And I honestly think I found here a gem, okay? I honestly think, because a bit like Charles de Ketelaere, he seems like very confident roaming-wise in that midfield. And that's why he provides so many assists, okay? So I think Kulusevski needs to watch out with this kid that's coming. So these are my picks. Kulusevski, and MRB midfielder Svedberg.
Okay, and I think that Kulusevski right now, I just really wish he was getting more time with Juventus. But I think Allegri's got a little bit of a problem with him, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. He might be headed for some sort of a loan, but my pick is going to be different. Finally, right? I got to go with Manchester United's Anthony Alanga. Okay, yes. 6 goals already in U21 Euro qualifying for Sweden, and he's consistently one of the better ballers in Manchester United's youth academy. It's just whether or not under Solskjaer he's ever going to be able to make the leap. Now, he did make his debut, right? That's encouraging. But there's no doubt that Anthony Alanga should be playing at a higher level than for United's reserves or their U23s. All right. It's just a matter of, do they send him out on loan? And where do they send him out on loan? Do you send him to a lower table, Premier League team, or do you send him to the Championship? But Anthony Alanga has a dynamism to him that makes you incredibly excited on that wing. And he's already got his first Premier League goal out of the way. He's already got his Manchester United debut out of the way. Now it's just like, where does he go to come into his own and do it day in, day out? Much like Chelsea fans watching a Livramento or an Armando Broja go to Southampton and do really well. I think Alanga could very much be in that same situation. But Kulusevski, you have to shout out to. But Anthony Alanga really excites me.
Alanga is close to the move, I agree, but I don't think it's going to be a Man United. I think you got that right, Bretson. I don't think it is, because he's a winger too, and like they're getting Amad Diallo. So Shola Shortire there. Alanga, I think, will be the one of the first cuts. So next country, Colombia. I went with a player that I went to see, and Wolves went bold. Okay, Yerson Mosquera. Like I didn't know that he had even gone to Wolves. Okay, like what? Like that's like, what a player. Okay, what a player. Because like, again, just like the same pattern, dominant player. Okay, and I think he's just like Yerry Mina. I'd compare him with Yerson Mosquera. Okay, Yerson Mosquera is very similar to Yerry Mina. Speed, okay, this is the big distinguish, I'd say. Yerson Mosquera actually has the jets in the center back role. Okay. So watch out. Okay, he's at Wolves right now. Yerson Mosquera, Colombian center back, and yeah, dominant and very fast. Okay,
I really like that pick. And Wolves does this thing where they collect really solid talents, and some of them, kind of like Watford back in the day, or still, I don't know. They never play, but they do it as an investment. And Yerson Mosquera, though, I think could find his way into that actual setup, and I hope he does. But my pick is actually a 17-year-old Jean Duran. He's a big guy for 17, target striker, but he's mobile, and he's actually going to be joining the Chicago Fire in Major League Soccer as kind of a stepping stone deal, right? Jean Duran, he already has 8 goals, 4 assists in his professional career, and he's 17, just turned 17 basically. And they're like, I don't know, I sniffed around the Chicago Fire tweets and everything about it, and everything that people have kind of come in and said, they basically are telling themselves that they got the Colombian Lukaku, right? He's mobile, he's industrious, he's prolific already at 17 with 8 goals and 4 assists. But the bigger thing here was a pretty impressive nature that Chicago Fire was able to actually land Duran when he was very much tied with a lot of big European clubs. So that's why I say it's probably going to be a stepping stone deal. But as a 17-year-old, he's got to hit the ground running in Major League Soccer. But he is one of their most exciting attacking talents right now. Comes from that Envigado academy that I believe they produced James, Freddie Guarin. Remember him? Remember that?
Yeah.
name?
Oh, yes.
They've produced quite a few talents. So hopefully Duran is the next in line. But all right, we already violated 2 minutes. Number 15.
15, Uruguay. So
Yeah.
the easy pick, I'd say, is Matias Arezzo. Okay,
Yeah.
guys, if there's a Uruguayan talent that you want to know, that you want to say to your mates, that you know in 3 years' time that they're going to be insane, it's Arezzo. Because I'd say he's fairly unknown still, okay? Because he's still in South America. People don't know about him. Very fast, clinical. I'd compare him with Karim Adeyemi type beat.
Okay.
Matias Arezzo, okay? Very similar to Karim Adeyemi, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the player that I'm going to mention that is my pick is Manel Ugarte.
Okay.
Because I can just see him being settled, okay? Settling this season at Sporting to next season to get the spot of Padinha, okay? Because João Padinha is going to leave Sporting this season, and Manuel Ugarte is like being, he's Ruben Amorim's testing waters with him and showing what he needs to do to be that guy and to really to have a good role for Sporting next season. So he's my pick, Ugarte.
Yeah, he's a great player. And part of that fun, how do you say that? Famalicão?
Famalicão, yeah.
Yeah. Back when they,
what a season.
Yeah, when they
What
were
a season.
collecting youngsters like they were Pokemon cards. Yeah. But Matias Arezzo, yeah, you can't get around kind of looking at him, right? I mean, he's already got 35 goals to his name as an 18-year-old for River Plate Montevideo, I think it is. But there's so much attacking talent coming out of Uruguay because you have Satriano in Italy. You have Facundo Pelistri, who plays on loan at Alaves, Facundo Torres and Brian Rodriguez. But the other one that you got to mention, not quite up there with Arezzo in terms of being prolific, but Agustin Alvarez Martinez is a couple years older and putting up relatively similar numbers, somewhat in still in the domestic leagues in Uruguay. I would imagine he's going to be making a leap at some point soon too, and it could be to the Brazilian league, it could be to Europe. And I thought Arezzo at some point was put in there, kind of set up for a move to La Liga. I felt like Atletico or Celta Vigo was looking at him, but I guess that never materialized. So many good talents in Uruguay, as is.
But Arezzo will move like 100%. Like he's still so young.
Yeah.
So there you go. So number 14, Switzerland. Okay.
Switzerland.
I have 2 picks, but I'm gonna go with the one that I know is a sure thing, and that's Noah Okafor. Okay, I watched him play, and lethal striker, putting up numbers. Okay, and already playing for the Switzerland national team.
Yep.
Honestly, I really like him. You know, because it's fairly rare now to find such a comfortable player with the heading. Okay, and he seems to have it. He's got the heading. He's got the finishing. And yeah, overall good awareness. Yeah. So Switzerland, you got your striker, Noah Okafor.
Yeah.
And I know you're gonna lead up to this one, but I would want to know more about Brian Oku, okay? Because I know he's a wonderful center back.
Yes.
But I don't know the pure details on him. So
yeah, I mean, there's just mobility, strength, size, just the possibility that he could be that long-term partner for like Emmanuel Akanji. It's wonderful, and he's one of the ones that got away, right, for the U.S. men's national team. He's already committed essentially to Switzerland. He's played for them all the way up, and he was just called in to the Swiss national team, the senior squad. And I don't know if you saw this, but he just tore his ACL, I believe, It might not have been his ACL, but he basically had a season-ending injury in training. Okay.
I didn't see that.
So at only 18, the poor kid is now on the mend. And I really, really hope that he comes back here, because there's still the hope that he can become, one of those studs to, make that Swiss back line a little less old. But the other one I got to throw out here is Bradley Fink, right? I think he's got an incredibly high ceiling, even if it is statistically based right now, because we've only really seen him in the youth squads for both Switzerland and for Borussia Dortmund. But I mean, he's already got 20 goals this season. Okay. 20 goals this season tells you that the kid's doing something right, whether it's positioning, whether it's, speed, whether it's just taking advantage of playing against whatever, U21, U20 back lines. But I'd be surprised if this year he doesn't feature for Dortmund at some point, considering how many injuries have been plaguing that front line, and Daniel Malen is not delivering in any way, shape, or form just yet. So Brian Oko, Bradley Fink, and Noah Okafor are really good Swiss shouts.
I watched him play in the youth league, and I can tell you, he's just like Haaland. I know it sounds incredible, like the Dortmund they seem to got a player just like Haaland. He's really similar. Even the in the box movements, it's just like Haaland. Those tap-ins. I love that pick. So number 13. Sorry, you're comfortable with this one, right?
Yeah, USA. Can we go longer than 2 minutes? No, just kidding. I mean, if you don't mind, I'm going to start here because it may surprise. But if we're looking at picks that have the highest ceiling, I am going. Oh, here we go. This is my first time saying it, so I got to pause. I am going to go bold here. Gio Reyna is the only American right now, okay, under the age of 21, that has the potential to be a Ballon d'Or candidate. Okay.
What?
The potential. If he doesn't inherit the injury bug that Christian Pulisic got, there are things that he can do, right? And things that he can work on that will make him a very dominant player for the U.S. men's national team in the future. And it's funny that I'm saying this, considering he played no role in the Mexico game the other day. But if you just watch him, right, there's a fluidity to him. There's a strength to him. There's the fearlessness, the ability to just try. I was about to curse, try stuff and get away with it. And there's also the ability to learn, right? Like a sponge. He just soaks things up and he learns from it. And for somebody to go in there and do pretty much what Pulisic did and then some at Dortmund is impressive to me. So I'm not saying that he is Ballon d'Or caliber.
No.
That if there's one U.S. men's national team player that has the potential to be currently under 21, it's him.
That's bold. Let's leave it on that. That's bold.
Yeah, well, who's your pick? I want to know. Who do you got?
I had Reyna as the obvious pick, and I put Pepe because as I said previously, it's the first really lethal finisher that I've seen in the US. Okay. Like, it's not like, I know Daryl DK, he's very dominant. All the strikers that were in the US, I always felt like they were very good pressurizing, but clinically I never seen someone like Pepe, that number 9. So Ricard Pepe, that's my pick.
Well, I got 2 more names before we move on. That just watching, I gotta shout out Eunice Musa and the game he put in versus Mexico. If you get a chance, those that are watching this right now and you haven't seen the highlights of Musa playing for the U.S. men's national team, it's very different than how he plays for Valencia. Go check out his highlights from that game. In fact, maybe we can even put in the comments section, I'll throw a link up there to something. Eunice Musa is only 18 years old and he bossed that midfield. Okay. He bossed that midfield against Mexico. The other one is playing for U20s that I have to announce is Malik Sinogo. He's been scoring for fun for Union Berlin's youth squads, probably will make his Bundesliga debut. And he's got a very similar swagger to him that Reyna has that I hope continues as he rises to the top, only 17 years old. So, all right, we can move on. Enough homerism. We can move on to number 12, which is going to be equally as hard. Who do you have for Germany?
Who won't be easy, but the best player right now is Florian Wirtz, no doubt. But the player that I think that has the highest ceiling for Germany is Karim Adeyemi. Okay,
Wow.
I've said it previously in the pod, and I wouldn't be surprised if in the future Karim Adeyemi is moving close for 100 million.
Okay.
He's got this. Karim really has it all. Karim, the dream, lethal. Like no, is like he really has it all because it's amazing how usually fast players,
Yeah.
usually don't have the finishing, and he has it both. He has it both because he's just so aware of where the goalkeeper is when he's running. Okay, that's what I love about Adeyemi. He does those fast-paced runs, and then he just chips it over the keeper or puts it in the side because he just knows. He just knows. He's got that special finishing ability. So he's my pick.
I was going to push back. I was going to interrupt you. You know, I 100% thought you were going to say Jamal Musiala. I am in agreement that Florian Wirtz is the best German player right now, U21. Okay. Oh, well, not well. Yeah, no, that's true. But Jamal Musiala is who I would put in he is the highest cap, right? It's not gonna like he has the ability. He's technically brilliant. He has the ability to kind of go for goal. Florian Wirtz is more of a setup man, right? He will go for goal, but he will more so create opportunities for his teammates. Jamal Musiala can do that, but then he can also decide to be arrogant as hell and just take his pot shot on goal or slalom through defenders. I don't know. I mean, Wirtz will do that less. Okay. So we're talking a game of inches here. Okay. I think Musiala is every bit the finisher that Karim Adeyemi is too, which is why I picked Musiala over Adeyemi. But really what we're talking about here is semantics, right? I mean, this is a ridiculous situation that Hansi Flick finds himself in. He's got Jamal Musiala, Florian Wirtz, Yusufa Mukoku, who doesn't even get a talking about anymore based on where he is on the injury table, just like everybody else at Dortmund. And then you have Karim Adeyemi. So Hansi Flick is going to make sure that Germany is going to be scary for years to come, at least on the attack.
But I just want to say, it's not like I don't rate Musiala. Okay, I just think Adeyemi is going to be one of the best strikers in the world. Really, I really rate him highly.
That's
I
right.
really rate him highly.
I just realized. I don't know why I thought you would have said Musiala when you said Adeyemi is going to go for potentially 100 million euros.
Yeah. I really do think that. For me, he's crazy. Like he's really crazy. So number 11, Netherlands. Okay. I'm gonna say the easy pick, and I'm gonna say my preferred player. My easy pick, obviously, is Gravenberch because if there's a player that's destined for greatness, it's Gravenberch. Okay, Wonderkid stamped for years. Okay, and now I can finally say he's developing himself, and he's one step away of actually becoming the world-class player that everybody expects him to be.
Okay,
he's playing because it's what I'm seeing at Ajax. Okay, and it's the fact that he's bossing up now, and I wanted to see it, and now that we're getting the confirmation, there you go. I'm gonna go Gravenberch, and the second is the pick that he's gonna leave Lille. And that's Sven Botman. Okay, center back again, ball playing elite, but heading ability, set pieces. That guy is a trouble. He's trouble, Botman. Okay, so he's my pick, Sven Botman, but Gravenberch, obviously, the wonder kid.
All right, okay. And Gravenberg, what do you think? Premier League next for him or stay at Ajax?
Yes, Premier League next. Premier League next. He's just so Premier League stamped. The DNA, it's just it's gonna happen.
It's good. Well, I'm gonna actually surprise you here. My pick for the Netherlands, at least highest cap, highest ceiling, is going to be Jurrien Timber. Okay, he has been undroppable for Ajax as of late. Again, he's got Euro experience. People were looking up his name furiously. Google search, who is Jurrien Timber when his name was announced for the squad. But I don't know if Jurrien Timber would have gotten the chance to show what he could do if it weren't for complications with Daley Blind's recovery at Ajax. If it weren't for complications with Van Dijk and De Ligt in the national team setup. But once he made his way into that 11 at Ajax, He has not. He has been relentless in staying there, and he has been rapidly improving, becoming easily one of the best center backs in the Eredivisie. And a lot of people are looking at him to make a big move in the future. Nobody really talks about it because we're all talking about Gravenberch, understandably so, or Sven Botman, and where he's going to wind up. But Jurrien Timber is having the season of his life. And that, I believe, is going to continue. And here's how good he is. He literally was sent home because the poor kid had too much workload put on him at 20 years old. Okay, so he's only just scraped the surface and gotten into, scraped the surface of a professional life. So I really think that there are miles beyond what he can do right now. And he could grow into a pretty fearsome center back for them. Maybe even replacing De Ligt. No, just kidding. That's a joke.
That's cool, but partnering up with him for sure.
For sure.
So number 10, it's your preferred, let's say, I'd say dual citizenship. This is your second country, mate. Like every time you mention it, like you love them. It's the Danish.
I'm part Danish. Yeah.
So I want to start here with the player. I saw him at Copenhagen, and that's Darami.
Yeah.
Because now he went to Ajax, and interesting enough, just playing with Timber too. So like elite winger, okay, fast paced. And there's a reason why Ajax got him, because he's look, the thing with Darami is the way how he goes forward, and he just knows when to cross and when to finish. That's what I would like about Darami. So if I am seeing Anthony ball out for Ajax, I can see the same happening next season, okay, for Darami. People really shining the light on him because, yeah, he's a baller too. So Danish superstar in the making. And Skov Olsen too is a really good mention. He's a player that's been in the national team. He's got that experience, but I really think in the future, Darami's going to be that guy.
I think you might be right, but how dare you not mention Mikkel Damsgaard?
I knew you were going to mention.
That's true.
You were going to mention him.
That's true, and it is pretty crazy to think Mikkel Damsgaard, Andreas Skov Olsen, Jesper Lindstrom. I'm butchering all these names. They are all 21 years old and pretty established, right? And they've made their moves. And they could be better for their clubs, but right now for the Danish national team, they're pretty damn good. But Darami at 19, and he's already getting, put into situations for the Danish national team is huge. And I think they'll all play a role in the World Cup. But I am going to mention a 16-year-old, Zidane Sertemir, who obviously could play for potentially play for Turkey as well. But at 16, he was an FC Nordsjælland product that was snapped up by Bayer Leverkusen and became I believe it was the second youngest ever to feature in the Bundesliga. Okay. And this is a kid that, he was wanted by a whole host of clubs, but he's clever. He's already been given a freedom to roam at 16 years old. He's can create, he can reliably make things happen, as he's shown in the youth squads. But the fact that at 16, Bayer Leverkusen came in and said, first off, we want to bring you in. And secondly, we basically want to tell you that, assuming your development goes properly, we are going to give you a Bundesliga debut within a year of you showing up, within less than a year of you showing up and making the move in. So Zidane Sertemir at 16 years old is somebody that you have to watch because he is highly touted by, I think it's Simon Rolfs. That is the one that's been waxing poetic about him in the Leverkusen camp. So definitely watch Zidane Sertemir.
There you go. So number 9, I feel like you'll be very nice with this one, and that's Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with the pick that I really thought it was gonna go well at Betis, and this is what I wanted to know by you, because Diego Lainez seemed to have it all. Okay, when I watched him in the South American League, like in the leagues, like it's Club America. Like Lainez seemed like he was so confident. He was just on the ball, like that little winger that no one could take the ball off. Messi-esque type, goes to Betis, doesn't play anymore.
Yeah.
What happened? Like he's the guy. He's still 20. He's under 21 still.
Yep.
So I want to know, why isn't he being the guy that I expected to be?
Yeah.
Like
I'll be honest, I don't know. All I know is that we take a collective deep breath when he enters a match versus the U.S. men's national team, because he is just fearless. He's not afraid to dribble at it. And, like his situation kind of reminds me, you remember Emre Moore?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that name?
Yes.
And how he kind of came onto the team, the dribbling ability. And I think it really comes down to small guy to small guy. His size potentially in La Liga, I have no clue. But he's not my pick. Diego Lainez is not my pick, but I think he would do very well to move on from Real Betis, and that's going to be a huge reason that maybe he can jumpstart his career moving forward, because he still has immense potential. But my pick is going to be Marcelo Flores. I don't know if you got to watch any of the there's a Revelations Cup going on right now, and Mexico played Brazil, and Mexico beat Brazil. The same Brazil that has Angelo Gabriel and Mateus Nascimento. But Marcelo Flores was the best player on that field. Okay. Now, he was born in Canada and can play for Canada, can play for England as well, I believe, because he's part of the Arsenal setup and has been there for a long period of time. But he was just so immense in that midfield. And this might be a little bit of recency bias, but everywhere he goes, Arsenal's talking a lot about his development and how excited they are about him. Same goes for Canada. Same goes for Mexico. If Mexico can land him as a midfield maestro for years to come, CONCACAF's going to be pretty fun to watch. He's only 18, so got to watch him.
There you go. There you go. So number 8, it's my country, Portugal. So I'm pretty safe to say who I think has the most potential under 21 in the Portuguese lineup, and that's easy. It's Nuno Mendes, guys. It's Nuno Mendes. Nuno Mendes is the one right now under 21 that has the best ability to play. Okay, right now in the team, in my opinion, because João Felix, he became 22. But I have 2 players that I want to mention here that I feel have that world-class ability potential that Nuno Mendes has too. And that is Pedro Neto. Okay. So unfortunate that he actually didn't play in the Euros because of injury. Okay. I hope he comes back soon. But Pedro Neto, fast. He's got that finishing. And honestly, if a player at 21 is balling in the Prem and putting fullbacks on watch, like, okay, he's a baller. Okay, he's a baller. And I would love to see him, if he comes back with the same form, for him to go to a team like Liverpool. Imagine Jota, Neto with Klopp. It would be insane. It would just match really well. And the other player is Fabio Vieira. Okay. People often focus a lot on Vitinha, which is natural because Vitinha technically he's so gifted. Okay. In the under 21 setup, if you see those matches, he just gets all the show because he's the ball is like it's glued on his feet. But Fabio Vieira is the maestro. He does the balls at the right time. He does the transitions. He does the final pass for the attacks to have the goal. Fabio Vieira, okay? People, watch out, okay? He is the real deal. Fabio Vieira from Olival. Trust me.
All right. My eye was drawn, and call me the guy that, watches the highlight package and goes straight to the guy that, I don't know, puts a defender on his ass. Vitinha really did excite me watching those U21 highlights. And what is it going to take for a guy like Vitinha to play day in, day out somewhere? And where is the best place for him?
Porto. It's very hard with Sergio Conceição. But I think Vitinha, if he went to the Netherlands, okay, I think if Ajax would manage to get Vitinha, a team that would just loves to have the ball at their feet, like a possession-based team, if they get him, they're happy with him, okay? So that's I don't know which team, but a ball possession team. That's would be my recommendation. Like elite player.
Well, so here we go. We got 7 left. 7?
Yeah, 7. So we got the rivals for Portugal, and that's Spain. Okay, so we got the easy dub, the world class that we know is going to be a baller this season, and it's Pedri. Okay, that we know he's going to deliver, but the one that has the Ballon d'Or potential is Ansu Fati. Okay, I want to see Ansu Fati has that as what we saw last season before the injury. Okay, those moments that you just know you don't see with other players.
That's
Okay,
true.
Fati
Yeah.
has them. And yeah, Ansu Fati is the player with the most potential, in my opinion, but the most consistent. I'm going to go with Ferran Torres.
Yeah.
Because Ferran Torres, I think, is going to be a Spanish icon, a bit like David Villa. Okay, interesting. He was a Valencia too. Okay, so I think Ferran Torres is a bit the David Villa region. Okay, I wanted to say that.
David Villa region. There's no such thing. Come on. Yeah, I mean, this is like Germany all over again, right? How do you choose between them? But I agree. Ansu Fati provides, well, there's that pizzazz that you'll get with him that you probably won't get with a Pedri or but he's not my pick. My pick right now is the guy that actually has the mind and all the quotes from Luis Enrique, and that is Gavi. And I am, I've liked him as part of the setup. I've watched him, but the fact of the matter is, he surprises Luis Enrique, right? He surprises him every time he's gone out, and it comes down to it that anytime somebody of that pedigree, whether it's coaching or whatnot, when you start to throw around, hey, this is Iniesta like, or this is Xavi like, this is whatever, and then you start to think about the promise or him, Gavi, not even really scraping the surface of his promise yet, and yet he's good enough still to be called up to the Spanish national team.
Yeah,
that gets my attention. Okay, so I am not a world-renowned scout. I know less about football than most people. I just get the chance to talk about it, right? But Gavi has really, really impressed me. So nothing against Ansu Fati or Pedri or whatnot. I actually do think Gavi could become one of the more influential and important players for Barcelona and for the Spanish national team than both of them. And we'll see. We'll see if it happens.
If you see Gavi against that Italian team, like that was he was himself like toning it down. Like he was controlling that game. Like so if you're bossing Verratti, that says it all. Yeah. So number 6, Argentina. Okay, I have a pick here that personally I didn't know too much about him, and that was Julian Alvarez.
The Aranga.
Okay. And I was surprised to see a player with such big stats, okay, finishing wise in the league, is still there. Yeah. Like how? Okay, so Julian Alvarez, guys, a young striker in Argentina that I could see, just like Aguero, just like Higuain, he's soon coming to Europe, okay, for sure. Okay, clinical, finishing, heading to. And what he has that's fantastic is the counterattack, okay? He's got the movements of the counter-attacking, those counter-attacking movements, okay? He's got them. Julian Alvarez, okay, finisher. And my other pick was Thiago Almada. Okay, Thiago Almada, he's been a long time in the game, like at least like people know about him. And he's got the dribbling, very nice dribbling, very confident with it. And he can play on the wing as much as he can play in the middle too. So Thiago Almada and Julian Alvarez, I think these are the 2 Argentinian future picks.
Yeah, and Thiago Almada is probably heading to Atlanta United. I don't know if you saw that. That's pretty much done, and he's headed to Atlanta United. So that'll be interesting. But I know a little more about Julian Alvarez, and it's tough. River Plate is not an easy place to just kind of walk into. There's plenty of quality attackers, and Julian Alvarez has been talked about for years as being potentially one of the best, and he's finally taken his chances. And now that he's there, and now that he's scoring, he's got 14. Julian Alvarez has 14 goals in his last 10 games. Okay, and I completely agree with you. I could see him doing his Spider-Man celebration, Selly in wherever, La Liga potentially, or Serie A. But Julian Alvarez with 14 goals in his last 10 games. He's seen spot minutes for Argentina. And yet the goals really aren't the whole story, because yes, scoring has kept him in the 11, but he's very João Felix in this type of situation where even when he wasn't scoring, when he was in the game, he was influencing the game. Okay. He could best be a second striker of sorts, but he's been played everywhere because he can play everywhere up top. Sometimes he comes in inside from the wing. Other times he's, right up top. But he has the ability and the versatility to play all across. And that might have stunted his growth some, because that mobility allows you to kind of plug and play with him in the 11, or, have him spell somebody else. But his off-ball movement is superb. And that in form now, he's getting the attention he probably has deserved. But then again, if you're a striker, you're a winger, hey, you're either setting up goals or you got to score. And he wasn't doing that previous to this. Now he's doing it. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Julian Alvarez moving forward.
There you go. There you go. So number 5, England. Okay.
Woof.
The England setup, like picking one for the future, that's the most difficult. But I've said in the pod here, like there's only 3 players in my opinion that really have the special generational talent discussion, and that is Foden. And that is Mbappe, Haaland, and Foden. Okay. So I think Foden is going to be the man to lead England in the future. And I'm going to go bold. I think Foden will already be the best player for England in the World Cup next year. I think Foden has it. Okay. Yeah. He is going to have, look, the backpack. I really think Foden will do it. Okay. So I think he's going to settle it. It's going to be a world-class testament there. And that's why I pick him ahead of Mason Greenwood. That I do think he's close to generational, but Foden, he has that. He just has that.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm not going to fight you here, except that I think Jude Bellingham, along with Phil Foden, they just have this quality. There's like an arrogance about them that they know they're going to be the ones leading England into the future. And I can see that. I can see it less with a Mason Greenwood. So that's kind of not statistical in nature. There's nothing to back that up. It's mostly just a gut feeling. The other guy that has it, that unfortunately is injured right now, Harvey Elliott, right? I just really, really, enjoy and enjoyed watching him kind of bloom at Blackburn. And then in a very short period of time, he earned Jurgen Klopp's trust. Okay. And he had good statistical numbers against some of the best players on that Liverpool team that would support him being a very quality addition that would have been, that would have obviously been a net positive to Liverpool, an already world-class team, a net positive then moving forward. So Harvey Elliott, when he comes back, you never know how an ankle injury leads to things, but he's one that could get up to that type of Phil Foden, Jude Bellingham swagger that I like so much, that makes me feel like they are going to be the ones to lead England into the future. I don't know. You have any agreement on that, or do you think I'm completely off base on Elliott?
No, I do think no. It's just like if he comes back from injury, I do, and he's got that arrogance. I agree with you. I agree, and I love that you said like the thing that we can't really analyze, but we can mentally, like Jude Bellingham and Foden really seem like they know that they're going to be the future, and Greenwood is kind of doubtful. Yeah. I think you're on the money on that. I like that. I like that take. So. Number 4, Italy. Okay. Yeah. I'm happy now to pick this player, because I remember starting the season saying, how is he not playing well? How is he still not settling in at AC Milan? Yep. But now I'm seeing it, and that is Sandra Tonali. Finally, this man is showing why AC Milan got him. Okay. And what I love about it is he seems like he really wants to make it at AC Milan. And he won't leave. He won't leave. Okay. I don't see the Donnarumma thing happening with Tonali at AC Milan. Okay. So if people don't know, CDM, just like very Pirlo-esque, okay, type player. He's got that target pass that just goes at the feet. Okay. Because people don't understand. One thing is getting the ball, just a normal pass. Okay. And another is getting a pass by a world-class player that puts it exactly where it needs to be. And Tonali has that. Okay. He is the maestro at the back, the 6, the tackle, the last one midfield to stop, and the first one to start the attack. I love this player. Okay. He is the future of Italy, and Barella and Tonali, that is scary. Okay. So he's my pick.
And I'm glad Sandro has, picked up his game, because Alex was getting, you were just getting depressed. And
Man.
it just goes to show you that development isn't always linear, right? It doesn't always happen in a straight line. And Tonali had to take maybe a step back to take a couple steps forward. But I agree with you. Another name I'm going to have to throw out there, though, is somebody that is going to, I think, beat him in importance to the Italian national team in the future. And that's going to be Nicolo Ravella, who is on loan at Genoa from Juventus. Juventus was smart enough to pick him up a couple years ago for like 22.5 million euros. And for a bad team, he is very clearly the most influential and the best player for Genoa. Okay. And not only that, he's putting up numbers in Serie A that contend with other midfielders. Okay. Really good on a dead ball. Phenomenal 1.8, 1.9 key passes. So he's the best under 23 midfielder in terms of creating chances. Okay. And then on top of that, he's just not, I wouldn't even say Mark, he's much, much better defensively. There's a defensive bite to him, cerebral nature to anticipation, interceptions, block shots, block passes. He just gets in the way. He's a disruptor. So kind of a two-way midfielder here. He's complete in that sense. Maybe a little slight, doesn't have that type of, but then again, Andrea Pirlo didn't. Gattuso didn't, not that he's Gattuso, but I'm just saying Ravella is somebody you're going to want to watch. He's only 19 and he's doing this. He's putting up these numbers in Serie A for a pretty bad team. So Nicolo Ravella, you got to throw up there with a Sandra Tonali for sure to watch. But all right, we're in the top three. Who's our
top
third?
Three. These are the big boys. I'm shocked this is not the number one country. I just want to say that.
Yeah.
France. Okay, France. So the player with the most potential, in my opinion, for France is Edouard Camavinga. Okay, for the simple reason that we've already seen him at such a young age perform at the national team. Okay, so I think he's the youngest player ever to score for the French national team. So that just says it. Okay, and he wasn't just scoring goals, he was actually playing really well in those games. Okay, so that is important to say. The player that I feel has the best ability was Wesley Fufano. Okay, Wesley Fufano was already dominating in the Prem. Okay, under 21. But the player that I want to mention just quickly is Lacroix. Okay, Lacroix is a king, not just on TikTok, but for Wolfsburg too, and the Bundesliga. Okay, fast pace, tackling. This guy is such a beast. Okay, and I do think he's going to be a French national team player in the future, Lacroix. So I'm going to go bold. It's Lacroix.
Okay, all right, and I'm surprised. And this is the craziest part of this whole thing. Not in any of those mentions was the name Saliba, right? Saliba. I believe Saliba has the highest ceiling out of all of them. Okay. Ball playing as well as physical attributes, as well as that swagger we all like, right? As well as the fact that he's gone through some things and he's come out the other side, hopefully, and he's playing really good ball right now. Okay. But then we talk about Wesley Fufano and there's a bite to him. And then we talk about Maxence Lacroix and that partnership he's got with John Brooks at Wolfsburg. I mean, they're all coming into their own. What are we going to play? Like 7 center backs for France moving forward? Clearly not. But how are you going to leave? We haven't even talked about Simakan. We haven't talked about Benoit Badiashile, right? There's so many solid potential center backs that they could literally rotate partnerships throughout World Cup qualifying in the future. And they probably still get the job done. But I think when it comes down to it, highest ceiling, while I completely respect all of those decisions, I'm going to go with the center back as well. And I am going to say Saliba will prove to be the best of the bunch moving forward.
Well, there you go. Saliba's performing really well for Marcelo, so I like that pick. So number 2, Brazil. So I was really, it's the discussion between Vini and Rodrigo, in my opinion. Yeah. And Kaique too. I wanted to mention Kaique as the bold pick because like Kaique is the player that has the potential to go where Vini wants to go, and that is the world class talent category. But I have to say Vinicius Junior right now, because Vinicius Junior has the finishing that he needed last season already.
Yes.
and I can't go against it. And I was always saying, if Vinicius Jr. has the finishing, I would put him here. He has it.
Yeah.
So I put him in the top.
Yeah,
I put him in the top.
I'm going to agree with you there just for the sake of time. And we've been talking about it. It's even if he has marginal improvement in his finishing, right, he will be better. And he can even improve more. And he's already right up there, right? World-class numbers so far this year. So he's going to continue to get better. And at 21, I think it still makes sense that he's got the highest ceiling out of the bunch. I do need to throw out on Angelo Gabriel, the 16-year-old that literally tore the U.S. the U.S. under 20s apart the other day. It was their first game in a couple years, so we'll cut them a little bit of a break. But Angelo Gabriel has worked his way into the conversation at Santos, right? Yeah. That's not easy to do. He's only 16. He's so fluid. It's one of those things where, the ball never leaves his foot. The milestones that he's put up there, which we can list, but we don't have enough time. It speaks volumes at such a historic club. Angelo Gabriel is only 16. There's so much that could happen from now until the age of Vinicius, 21. But he is definitely out of a incredibly important group that's coming through, like Mateus Nascimento and Savio and some of these other names. Angelo Gabriel is the one that I would pick to definitely watch the most. But Vinicius has to be named, I think, for Brazil and for their future. But let's go. Number one.
There you go. So number one, Belgium. Yeah. Okay. I said it in the past, and I really think Doku is one of the best talents in the world under 21 already. Top 5 in my opinion. So I had to pick Jeremy Doku, okay? But I do think Charles de Ketelaere is the type of player that next year he goes to, let's say, Everton or God knows where, and he would be a world-class player. Not a world-class player straight away, but in 2-3 years, he's a player to be dominating in the national team next to Doku. Charles de Ketelaere and Doku.
And here's the thing: Doku could be just a world-class specialist, right? At just taking and beating people on the wings. Charles de Ketelaere could be that, not like Kimmich for the attacking, right? Not Kimmich, more so that Swiss Army knife type of approach. He can play anywhere. He's growing into his game, and he's got to move on from Club Brugge in order to figure out exactly how world-class the kid could get. But we've seen sparingly here and there on the European stage how dominant he can potentially be. It's just whether or not he can compound on that. Another one you got to throw out there just from sheer age and the milestones and what he's put into it is another Club Brugge player, and that's Noah Mbamba. Defensive midfielder. I really think, they have high respect for him. It's just whether or not he develops, and he's at 16. He was already starting a game for Club Brugge. That's pretty impressive. But it's all about how he develops. So I agree with you. Doku, de Ketelaere, those are pretty solid choices.
They are for sure. Yep. So guys, here's episode 30. Okay, this is a special one. If there's any player that we haven't mentioned with your country, please put down in the comment section below and just tell us who are the Wonderkids that we haven't mentioned, and we should have. Okay, because we want to know, and it's always good to have a chat in the comments.
I gotta get a drink. I'm tired after that. How about you?
No, I'm gonna watch that Portugal-Serbia match, so I gotta get hyped up.
You do. All right, I'm ready for a CR7 masterclass or Dusan Vlahovic. We'll see. Who's it gonna be?
We'll see. So episode 30. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace out.
See you.